role for you on Tuesday night? How do you felt you coped with the more sort of advanced striker role?
I played there when I was younger, so
Yeah.
I had to refresh my memory a little bit. But I just followed the instructions from the manager. He wanted to keep the centre half on the ball and try and help the team to defend as well, because it starts from the front, and then tried to get in the ball. Obviously, Byram likes to go behind the defenders, and I was trying to get the ball in the hole. And I thought at times we passed it well. Even when I came off, I thought after Terry scored, we had a little spell where we really passed the ball well against a really good side.
Yeah. Do you feel that's your best position, or is that somewhere you're most comfortable with, or do you prefer being slightly deeper or slightly wider?
Obviously, I'm not really used to it at the moment, but I think if I get a few more games in that position, I could probably, as I said, refresh my memory, because I played there for many seasons. But
yeah.
Obviously, the last 2 or 3 I've always been out wide, so that's the the main position for me in the last few years. But if I have to do a job there, I'm be more than happy to do it.
What, 3 games in, 2 starts? How do you feel your fitness is coming along now?
Much better, to be fair. Yeah, I told the physio as well on Wednesday. Yesterday I felt a lot better. After the first game was a bit stiff, but I feel like I'm getting there. If you think about it, it's only two starts, so still early. But I feel better physically, and I'm training every day, so it's doing me a lot of good.
Okay for 2 games in 4 days, because that could be quite a lot when you're just sort of catching up on fitness.
I think I've got no problem starting. Obviously, I'll get tired towards the end, but you know what I mean. We're young, we're not like 50, 60. We can play. It's only a game of football. It's not like we're getting tortured. So we'll be more than happy to do it.
I want to ask you a bit about your background. Obviously, your accent says one thing. You're obviously your background. So what was your route into football?
I was, born and raised in Rome. Played there until I was 15, and then out of nowhere I got scouted by Blackburn Rovers. So I came over when I was 15. Couldn't speak a word of English. I had to get used very quickly. I struggled at the start because the Lancashire accent, it was not the English I knew from school.
Yeah.
I got there after a few months, and then I loved it in England. I loved my first experience in Blackburn, so I decided to stay here, even though obviously I've got my friends, my family, my girlfriend, everyone back home. But this is the place where I want to play football. So I've been here now 12 years. So
were you involved in any sort of youth system back in Italy?
No, I was only playing for a local club. It was managed by ex-Roma players, which were pretty big names in Rome, but they had a lot of contacts with English scouts and that. And it was one of my first trial games, and then from there, 2 weeks later, I was in Blackburn having a proper trial, and then 6 months later, I was there full time.
And how long was it before you sort of got the Lancashire accent that you've got
now?
I
think it took me a few years, and then when I got there, I finally had to move to Scotland, and I started all over again with my English. It was another shock to my system, because it was like learning English all over again. And then thankfully I got back to England, down at Swindon, and then carry on there.
Yeah. Do you feel more English than Italian now, or are you still sort of very much?
No, to be fair, it's because obviously with the first few years I thought, I caught all the contacts with Italy because there was no internet when we were living in Blackburn. But nowadays, with FaceTime, Skype and all that, I'm on the phone pretty much all the time. So it still feels hard to feel English, because none of my family can speak English, and my girlfriend can't speak English. No one, what I mean, even though she's actually really good at the moment, she's getting better. But my mum, my brother, they're all Italian, and when they come over, people ask me, "Oh, do you speak English to them or Italian?" Which is, for me, it's weird, because no one I know in my family can speak English.
Yeah. Do you ever think about going and playing in Italy, trying your luck over there, or is it you feel more an English footballer now?
I do. That's obviously, for a start, I've never played there, so really I feel football-wise I feel English. But as I said a few days ago, the football in Italy is not the best at the moment. I think when I was growing up, I felt like it was probably one of the best in Europe. But what will happen, in the last few years, it's changed a lot, and it's not a good place to play football at the moment. So especially League One, League Two, at this level, England, I think, is probably the best place.
What do you think that is with Italy? You said after the 1990 World Cup, everybody seemed to go there, and a lot of English players went over there. But now all the Italians come over here and play elsewhere.
Yeah, I remember when I was growing up, every time you see someone going to England to play football, you pretty much tell that they were never going to play for the national team. And now it's the opposite. Like when you play in England, pretty much guaranteed that you're good enough to play for the national team. And he's changed. The level has definitely gone down. You can see this Serie A now is 3 or 4 teams, and the rest shouldn't even be there really. Which is a big contrast to the Premier League, where every game is, you never know what's going to happen. So that's why probably people lost interest. Especially after we won the World Cup. With all the corruption and people getting arrested, teams getting relegated. It's obvious that people are going to lose interest, and then you can see the crowds at the stadium. I was at Bradford last season. We were getting more people, bigger crowds than Lazio, which is my favourite club. And it's a team that is in the city. There's 6 million people, and you get 10,000 people going to the game, which is it's not good to see.
You're a Lazio fan. Was Gaza somebody that you knew a lot about when you were growing up?
Absolutely, yeah. I was a bit too young to be fair to remember, but I watched a lot of videos, and then since I can remember, I think when I was growing up we had a good team and there was a lot of good players, and then with Di Canio and all, I got a lot of favourite players. But it was a great team, not unlike now, which probably you wouldn't know one, probably more than 2 players.
Yeah,
closer, yeah, but not many more.
Yeah, and who was your real hero when you were growing up there?
It was probably Di Canio, which funny enough then was my manager for 2 years, but it's only because obviously he's from Rome and he like me, and he moved to England. And, I grew up reading his books and that, about his experience in England, the way he coped, and that. I was fascinated by the way, he got accepted in England, and everyone liked him, unlike back home, but he's a controversial figure.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank